What's up my comic fans, Kara here, Capital K Comic Reviews, coming at you with another video. This one we're going to be getting into some more DIY pressing ways of doing stuff, so let's get into it. Let's go! What's up comic fans, Kara here, Capital K Comics. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Clicking on this video. If you like the videos that I drop, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you get notified when I drop new content on my channel. But hey, we're going to jump into another DIY press it yourself tutorial video, another theory or another way of pressing books. If you've been on my channel, you would have seen I got one on there about cold pressing, and that I used to do that for many moons before I got a heat press. But now you know, and I see people that have got on there and been viewing it, and I thought I'd drop another one, which I did in another video with the pressing tutorials of a heat press, about another way of doing it, which I did when I started, was doing cold pressing in between books, weights and things like that, just finding any way to compress the book to get it up there a little bit better and get those kinks out and all those crinkles and all that stuff. So now we've got on to, I'm gonna show you how to do a DIY with a household iron, how to press your book with a household iron, and it's the next step up from cold pressing and just under this thing. If you haven't got a heat press, which those can be very expensive to buy, this is another option that you guys can do to press your books at home and press up your collection to get it just that little bit more better. But I hope if you've been following the videos on my channel about pressing, that your pressing has been going well. You've learnt a lot. You may have learnt different things, that your own techniques and stuff like that, but I hope whatever I've put out on the channel has helped you in your pressing experience of your books. So yeah, we're going to get into another one. I've got books that I've had since for a couple of years now, which I've always said on my channel when it comes to pressing comics, if you're new to the pressing genre and what's involved in it, please, whatever you do not start on key books or big books that you've got. Start on your good old reader copy books. You know, these are the ones that I use and that I've been trialing and erroring on these, and I've made a lot of mistakes on these books, and that's where my success for ironing out the kinks, excuse the pun, to pressing these other books. These were the guinea pigs. So please, by all means, use reader copies. Use copies that don't really you know, they don't really hold any significant value towards you or to your collection, and start on those or learn on those, perfect your art, and then go on to your bigger books. So yeah, if you're starting pressing, please use reader copies or copies that aren't that valuable to you. But yeah, so I'm going to use one of these books to show you guys how to use this on this to get them up to the grades of these pressings and stuff like that. Now, like I've said in previous videos, pressing comics is not the end all and be all. It's not going to solve all your problems when it comes to defects on your books. There are some things on books that you just can't get out. Color breaks and things like that, spine ticks or color broken spine ticks, and even some very deep kinked pages that have come from the actual publisher like that are very hard to get out. So when going into this game, don't expect you know, the world from it. Don't expect it to get everything out that you want. If you go into that, you're gonna get let down. Just it does bump up the book a bit. It does get rid of a lot of the defects, but it won't get rid of all of them, guys. If you bear that in mind when you're jumping into this, you'll be fine. That way your expectations won't be that high. If you set them at a reasonable level, you'll be happily surprised with the benefits and the results you get out of pressing books, however you press them, cold, iron or heat press. But we'll get into it. I'll swap over, we'll have the book on the bench, and I'll take you through on how to press the book, so give us a sec, guys. Alright guys, so here we go. We're going to be doing Mordred the Mystic #1. It's a 9p UK edition variant, ready copy. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to ruffle up the cover a bit. So I'm going to get you to have a look at it, what it looks like now. Get the light on. And I'm just going to ruffle it up a little bit. I'm not going to do both sides, I'm just going to do the front, so you know it's basically going to be the same as the back kind of thing, you know what I mean? So I'll try and do it so it doesn't colour break it, but this book has a lot of colour breaks on the cover anyway. Stuff like that, so you can see like that, that's what we're going to try and get out. All those wrinkles I just put in it, all those ruffles and nasty stuff we're going to put in it. I'm going to set it up just like I do with the press, with the boards and a couple of papers. So with your iron, I'm using my wife's iron. If you've got parents and you're younger trying to do this, ask your parents first, make sure it's all right to use the iron, and you're all sweet with it. We don't want no young kids burning themselves, that's the last thing we want. Ask permission first. And when setting up the iron, it's just set up and it's on a medium height that I've set it on, just for starters, just to see how you go. And then if it is working out for you but it needs a bit more ironing, turn it up by all means, and then just go through. But we'll start off with this. I'm going to set it up like I do with that one. I'm going to find the boards. Now I don't have my gloves on because this is my book and it is a reader copy, and I'm not too concerned about transferring any like dirt or that from my fingers and that, because it's a reader copy. But in saying that, if you are doing pressings on key books like these or anything like that, by all means put your gloves on. And if you're doing, you're gonna press one of your mates' comics or something like that, you don't want to stuff up his book, so put your gloves on and stuff like that. But yeah, we're just going to chuck a paper on each cover, board in the middle, she's ready to go. What you will need though, guys, is a Teflon sheet. I use these on all my heat pressing comics, or when heat pressing comics. They're fantastic. If you do have them, that's great. If you don't, guys, what I used to do is I used to use an old cotton pillowcase or an old cotton sheet that I could cut up. When I was younger, I asked my mother if I could cut up one of the old sheets and put it on. That will kind of do the same thing. Once you see what I'm going to do with the iron, you'll understand how it's going to work. Basically, it's like ironing your trousers, guys, or ironing any piece of clothing. That's what we're going to do. So if you either got a Teflon sheet or a sheet or pillowcase cut up to mimic the Teflon sheet, this is how I've done it. Place one on the bottom, and then I'm going to get my other Teflon sheet and I'm going to place it on top. Now when using a rag or a cotton sheet or anything, I used to put a paper, not a board, just a paper on top of the cover, and iron it like that. So if you are using like an old rag sheet or an old rag pillowcase, just put a piece of paper down there, just the ones you use for the board, for the inside pages. Just place it on there, put the cotton sheet on top, or whatever you have on top, and just iron that. But I've got my Teflon sheet, so we're going to do it that way. So I won't need the page on it because I don't. So just place it on, make sure that it's all good, the book's flat, there's no dog ears on it, and all you're going to do, guys, is you're going to start the iron. Now when you iron, you're just going to give it a press, because you're basically trying to mimic the heat press. So give it a bit of pressure, not heaps, but give it a bit of pressure. And this is what you want to slowly, just like you're ironing your shirt, guys. And when ironing your shirts, you don't want to sit it in one place for ages. Otherwise, why? Because you end up with a big nice brown burnt spot on your clothes. So same thing with pressing comics with an iron. You want to just evenly have it going over, apply some pressure to it, up and down, just covering covering the whole book. You will feel the staples in there, and that's what that board in the middle is meant to be doing. It's meant to be stopping the thing from pushing in. Now this comic here does have the staples facing forward, because I'm not adjusting the spine on it. I'm just trying to show you guys how to get the crinkles and that out of the cover. So, you know, give it a few passes, take the iron off, take your sheet off, have a look, and already you can see from when it was crinkled to where it's getting to now. So all you're doing, guys, is just apply and repeat. Sheet back on again and back to it. Pressure and heat, and just try your best to iron that book out. And this is what I used to, like I said, I started with cold pressing, putting it into between the old encyclopedias my parents had, or any heavy books that the shelves, or they were in the bookshelf, split them in there. But I left them in there for months on end, left them in there. And that's probably the downfall of cold pressing, is that you have to leave it there for a long time. Don't expect when you're cold pressing to put it in there and a week later it's all flat and all nice, because that's not going to happen. So, and then the next step up I did was iron pressing, because I couldn't afford to get a heat press here. And you know, like I said, don't expect pressing comics or pressing a comic to work 100% of the time, guys. It's not. There are certain defects that you just cannot press out. Some manufactured defects, like they might have had a crease that's been in there since they assembled the book together. I've come across one of those the other week, and or color broken. No matter how color broken, if it's color broken a little bit, you ain't saving that color. It's gone. So don't expect it to be 100% foolproof and will get out all your troubles out of your books, but it is a good way of getting them up a little bit. So, and don't expect these techniques to do what this thing can, because it's another thing you will be kind of disappointed in. If you have the time and the patience to do this, because it is a repetitive exercise, by all means do it to your heart's content. If it's what you want to do to get some kinks out of some key books or whatever, you know, if you're like me, you're persistent and just try and get that book up to, you know, if it is, get it up that extra half grade or grade, or you know, whatever you're trying to get out of it. If you're finding that this is, you know, you want to put the heat up a bit more, you can. Just be mindful of how hot you can get it, and just be mindful on how hot your book will get. So do, like when you're checking, do give it a little bit of time when you get there to let it cool down a bit. But yeah, so and when if your iron has a steam function, do not switch that steam function off. Do not have steam in the actual iron itself, in the tank itself, because if you accidentally push that button, let's just say you haven't got a Teflon sheet and you've got the sheet, and you pushing that button, think, hey, I'll just steam it, and doing like that. Don't do that. It's a bad idea, because you know the steam will go straight through that cotton sheet, straight into that book, and then you'll have a problem of causing what I did on another book, and that was pressing, you know, put moisture in it, too much moisture in it. I pressed it together and it all stuck together and turned into a nice bit of cardboard, and that's what we don't want. So yeah, turn the steam function off on your oven. Do not push that button at all. My tank's empty, so I can push it all I want, and it's not going to steam. But yeah, do not use steam, guys, not at this stage anyway. And yeah, it's just a repetitive process. Pressure, heat, mimicking the heat press, and just slowly going over it. pushing it. Right, so you can see it's slowly getting better. It's getting there. But it needs a lot more pressing and heat pressing, so I might just turn it up a bit. Yeah, so don't just have the iron on there and just sitting on there and just move it, you know, apply some pressure to it because you're trying to iron out the book. And you know, like I said, it is a repetitive process, but if you've got the patience and you're willing to put in the time to get a certain result out of a book, then you'll have no problem sitting here and doing it. Now, some of them may be a 5-minute job, others will take a lot longer. But like I said, you got the patience to do it, give it a crack. If you cannot afford to get a heat press, this is probably your next best option for pressing books. So you can see it's getting better and better, and it takes time. So yeah, if you keep trying it, keep pressing it, you know, patience is your friend in this game when you're doing this one, and just press away. Alright guys, so I hope this tip helps you out with what you're trying to achieve in your DIY pressing skills and that, and your repertoire on how to press your own books at home, just if you ain't got the means or the resources to get a heat press. You can spend hours and hours of fun times doing this to your books, and seeing it gets long. But I hope the tips helped you out. Do this one last time, and then you can see. Otherwise, I'll be here for hours doing this. But you guys get the picture. You guys, you know, understand what's going on. So I hope these tips will have one last look at it. Here it's coming up, and it is slowly getting there. Slowly getting. Now you can combine this with the cold pressing technique method, putting it into a stack of books, or like on my DIY cold pressing video, boards, weights, clamps, you know, heat press it with the iron, and then slam it in those books or in their boards and G-clamp that sucker up and leave it in there. And just keep checking it every couple of weeks, and you can always just pull it out, give it another iron for another couple of passes, put it back in the books or in the G-clamps in the woods, leave it there. It's going to be a repetitive process, guys, but you will get there in the end. But like I said from the start, do not expect the world out of it. You know, it'll get your book up a little bit. As you can see, when I scrunch that up to where it is now, it's taking most of these crinkles out. You can still see them, but that's what the patience is going to be about, getting that and sitting here and just slowly ironing that out over time. So yeah, combine it with the cold pressing techniques, bring it out, iron it again, combine, and I hope these tips has helped you. I hope this is giving you an idea or showing you how to use the household iron to press your books. We may do one later where you can steam them, but just just because you guys are starting, or if you are starting, just use the iron, don't use steam on it yet. And just practice getting that out until maybe you feel comfortable or you research a lot more about steaming. I may do one in the future about steaming with an iron, and do one about a humidity chamber. If you don't know what a humidity chamber is, I'll do another video of that in the future. But hopefully this has helped you out and given you another skill in your arsenal of pressing comics, guys. So appreciate you guys clicking on the video. If you liked it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the bell notification so you get notified when I drop new content on my channel. And go out and check out all the rest of the videos on my channel, and we'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace out.